Hello everybody, welcome back to the range. Tom here, and today we're doing a 1969 Mercury Cougar into a BAHA 1000 vehicle. Oh yeah, I had this casting sitting around. It was a little dirty to begin with, but I cleaned her up, I got her ready, and I made her look good. So why don't we head on down to the range and let's get started. Oh, I can't remember where I got this casting. It was from one of my subscribers. Had a little bit of dirt, had some spider web stuff in it, so I cleaned it up and, got it to a point where I was just I had to figure out what I wanted to do with it. After I got it all drilled apart, and, I didn't tap the screws just yet because I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. And once I found out what I was going to do, which I was going to cut literally the back half, or not the back half, but at least the trunk area out of it. Because a lot of the BAHA cars that I noticed don't have like a full rounded off bumper or anything like that. They just got an open back where they put the wheels and stuff like that into it. I took my Dremel tool, ground it down to about as good as I can get it, took my file, whatever I had to do before I threw it in the stripper. I wanted to get it to a certain look, and after I was looking at it for a little bit, I went and looked at some pictures of some BAHA trucks, and the wheels, I thought the wheels was going to look good with it, but they were just too small for the look I was going for. But I did use these for like size comparisons for other wheels and stuff like that. And, it's just, I don't know. I just felt like I needed to do more to it. And I wanted to make sure it had like a working suspension and stuff like that. So after I pulled it out of the stripper, I got the base all cleaned up and stuff. And, I just kind of was looking through it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to cut off part of the back fender walls and, just go from there. But, like I said, I cut it out to a certain spot because, most of the BAHA trucks don't have like a full enclosed fender. So I marked it off just to get it to a certain spot. Yeah, there was a lot of filing, trust me, trying to make everything look even, look like it's supposed to be, like, cut that way. And, I didn't do a lot of, work to the body other than what, the cutting and the filing and stuff like that. The most work I put into this was into the base and the interior and, that kind of stuff. And I gave it a pretty wicked looking paint job. Had to throw my decals on there because Caliber 50 Customs is going BAHA 1000. So this will be, it's not the car I would like to have done, but I thought it looked pretty dang cool coming out of a 69 Mercury Cougar Eliminator. I apologize. It was the Eliminator casting. And luckily enough, things it was going perfectly my way. I had a little ups and downs with the actual, suspension, how it was going to work, and, where I was going to position certain things. And, I had to adjust it right before, paint and stuff like that to make it sure it would actually look, where it looked proportioned of where the wheels would go and stuff like that. Because, after I got everything pretty much the way I wanted it, I started looking at the tires again, and they looked like they just weren't setting where the axle would be on the actual BAHA car in the center of the fender walls. So, I had to redo that, which is no big deal. And right now I'm just kind of working on a interior roll cage for the vehicle, because I want it to look like a BAHA vehicle. The roll cage I did might not look like a BAHA vehicle, but it's my personal BAHA vehicle. And all in all, I think it actually turned out amazing. It really did. Paint job went smooth. after I readjusted the suspension and stuff, everything was lining up. It looked good. You know, the wheels I used was from a Jada Just Trucks car I had sitting around. So I used those. You know, I was trying to figure out different ways to do the suspension, but the original way I was going to do it, it just wasn't going to work out. I didn't know how I was going to do it. So I scrapped that idea, and I did for just, you know, your standard, you know, kind of suspension like you see here. And, you know, I trimmed a lot. And like I said, I was going to use these tires for some, you know, size comparison. Didn't end up using them. I was going to have it to set it where, you know, it had a spare tire mount. But didn't end up using these wheels because it just did not fit right. The style I was going with, they were just too small for a BAHA car. And right now, I'm just measuring off like what I'm going to do for the axles. Since pretty much what I'm going to be doing is, you know, attaching these brass rods to the axle by using styrene. You know, cutting up some styrene. So I wanted to make sure the tubes, you know, were cut to size. So when I went to adjust and put the newer wheels on, they would still work out and still have the good spacing. And there are going to be some glamour shots at the end of the video after the final reveal video footage. So, you know, it gives a better idea of what I was looking for. And, you know, like I said, this was a awesome build. I had a lot of fun doing this. I apologize for my last video I posted. It's taken me a couple days to actually get my voice back. And, you know, it wasn't that bad of a video. I actually liked how that challenge build I did. I had to remember what I did, and it was for the Diecast Heroes Challenge. And I've already sent glamour shot photos to them, so hopefully I'll hear something back. I know the deadline, it's a little early, and, you know, I completed it, wanted to get it out of the way. And guys that's been watching my channel, I do apologize for the ones that watch my channel that have bought one of my cars at the auctions. I have not been able to send them out, and I do apologize. I have not forgot about them. You know, my giveaway builds that I'm still trying to get those out. It's just a lot of stuff's been happening at once, and, you know, I haven't had to buy any new materials or anything for my cars or anything, but, you know, I got some parts on order that I'm waiting for, and I'm doing my best to get everything I can mailed out. I got a list of what I need to get done, who I need to get it to. It's just right now financially, you know, my car's broke down. I wasn't able to get that up and going because, you know, once I got the part in, you know, I got a dead battery and I don't have jumper cables. I don't have anybody around me that could do it. Things have just been going hell in a handbasket pretty much. And I do apologize for all the people that's watching my videos that's got, you know, the giveaway builds but have not received them. I'm so sorry. I will get them out as soon as I can. And, you know, it's just, you know, I'm trying. I got so much stuff going on here at home, and I'm trying to get these videos out because I got like an Erikenstein rod build I'm going to be doing next. I'm kind of already in the middle of videoing it. I'm just not for sure what all I'm going to do to it, so I'm kind of got that on the back burner right now while I'm doing this video. And, yeah, I'm lighting a cigarette. You know, I'm a smoker. Sorry. But, you see that I'm doing the suspension the way I'm doing. I got these springs. I can't remember where I got them from. You know, trying to work them perfectly. Got them adjusted. Trying to make it to where, you know, they're angled a certain way to actually be able to move up and down. Not like, you know, bouncing from like, you know, you drop it and it bounces a lot. No, I just wanted to make it look like it's got that springiness to it. And, you know, it took me a few tries to get the springs lined up just right and get everything that I was wanting to do just right. You know, I had to use a round file, groove it out to fit where the axle was going to go and stuff like that, you know. But I'm always trying to find other ways to do certain things. And right now, this is probably my best suspension I've done so far, other than the little banana clip, hair clips things that, you know, most people use for cars. But being an off-road suspension, I gotta admit, this is probably one of my favorite functioning ones that I've done. So, and it just took a little bit of time. I might do another off-road truck with something similar, just some smaller springs. And I got a bunch of off-road tires coming in the mail. You know, I got like 20 sets of tires coming from Sam Ed Wheels. I got some off-road style tires that are dirty up. I'm going to be using those for a military diorama I'm going to be doing. So those are going to be put away for that reason. And I got some nice wheels. I don't remember what kind they are. I didn't really... I can't remember what they look like, but there are some really nice wheels, and you know, I try to keep stocked up on materials, so I'm not running out of things. The most stuff I run out of is styrene and brass tubing, and you know, the axle tubing. That's the stuff I run out of quickly because I'm using it for like roll cages or stuff like that. The styrene tubing, I use up a lot of that, and you know, the things that's going, it's just going really well with the way I'm doing this roll cage along with the suspension. After I cut everything on the back, I had nowhere to attach the rear suspension to. And I didn't think about it right off the bat, and I'm like, oh crap, where am I going to attach this rear suspension to? And this whole time, I'm just wondering. I'm like, what am I going to do? I have no clue what I'm going to do with this. So what I ended up doing, I can't remember if it shows it or not. I took some styrene, cut some grooves out, cut a piece of styrene in half, and I actually made little mounts that attached to the actual back roll cage area where the X is at, and I made it attached to those. And all in all, it worked. You know, I had to get them in the right position, had to file them down, had to sand them down, get them smooth enough, you know, to where, like, I could set the body on and not have no issues. You know, I've done this Mercury Cougar before, just not on, like, not like this. I've done just kind of like, crap, I can't remember. I think I just kind of souped it up and all that jive. But I'm kind of, you know, like I said, I'm always trying to improve my skills better, you know, and here, you know, what I'm doing is just trying to find out where I want to put these little mounts for the springs. And, you know, I'm kind of testing them in different areas, just seeing how they're going to fit and seeing, like, what the best one would be for. And, like I said, after all this was done, I ended up readjusting the suspension a little bit by bringing them like I brought the front suspension more forward, so when it came down, the axle was more centered. Same goes for the back. I moved it towards the back a little bit, so that was a little more centered once the springs were attached and everything. And the hardest part was trying to get the springs on because of the such little area to work with. And like, this thing rolls good. The springs work really good. I like how those turned out. And, you know, for future builds, I think I'm going to try to do this more often and actually do a actual suspension build video on like a off-road truck or something and using this setup that I've done here. And yeah, I know you guys have probably seen other people do it before, and you know, I'm not the first person to do this, but it's actually one of my favorite kind of styles. It looks like an off-road chassis. You know, I couldn't put a drivetrain in there or anything like that because it moves and whatever, you know, it needed. But all in all, I'm glad it turned out the way it did. It turned out really good. The glue was solid when I painted it. And, you know, I did a lot of sanding and stuff prior to painting just to make sure that everything, you know, would just flow together. And, I show a little bit of, like, my video footage of, me painting, but mostly, like, the hand paints and, just the little detailing work. And, with it being a Baja truck, I had to add a headache rack up on top of it, and you'll see that later on in the video footage. Right now, I'm just testing out the suspension, making sure there's enough gaps in between where the rear adjuster, the rear mounts are for the springs and the back of the car. I also ended up cutting the windscreen in half because I only used the front part of it because, in a Baja truck, they don't have really a window in the back because of everything. Here's the headache rack that I'm going to be putting on there, kind of giving it that look. I'm going to be, finishing up this brush guard that I kind of have been modifying. It's got a winch on the front of it. I got the springs being held down with some tape so I can kind of get an idea of where they were setting at the time. I didn't want them popping out because I've already lost about 2 springs doing this. So, I'm wanting to get this brush guard kind of thing made up to where it looks, like functional, but it's not, because it's just kind of sitting in there. And I ended up putting like an armor plate underneath it after I attached these 2 little pieces of styrene to it. I drilled some holes, just kind of, because it's got that safety thing for the front differential or the front drivetrain or whatever it is, that they got that there to protect. I wanted to kind of give it that look. So, after everything was said and done, I was letting it dry. I was getting the headache rack adjusted because I was getting closer and closer to the painting. So I wanted to get it ready. I wanted to get it to where, all I had to do was paint and put it together. And luckily enough, everything it went really good, with paint. And here's, I know I'm kind of skipping in all over the place, but, I decided to cut about 3/4 of the interior out because all I needed was a seat, the dashboard, and steering wheel area. So I cut out the passenger seat and the back seats for this thing, and I just built a roll cage around it and glued it onto the base of the car because I thought it'd just be easier doing it that way. And, right now I'm just trying to get an idea of like what I gotta do. I kind of gotta fix the front post for the springs because, as I was trying to fit the interior in, I should have cut it first before I put it in there and ended up bending the stuff out of the way. And so I was like, you know what, I need to change that out. So I ended up changing that, cutting the front of the interior off. Didn't have to really do fancy stuff with it. Measured out the brass tube so I could put it on for the roll cage for this thing. And I tried to make it look decent enough as a roll cage because I ended up painting the entire base black and then just doing touch-up paints afterwards. It was hard enough trying to put some of these pegs, or I'm going to just call them pegs, but these pieces of brass rod, just trying to get it to where it looked like it was welded together, or if it looked like it was one piece or anything like that. And, just not having the actual space to do it, because there was such tight quarters in some of the areas. So I kind of had to wing it and just kind of adjust as I went. Dropped the brass rod a few times, but other than that, I got it fixed up and I got it working right and got it to where it needed to be. And all in all, it turned out to be a really nice roll cage once everything got painted. And you know how some of them's got those little wide fenders of the Baja cars? They got the little wider fenders around the front and then the back. Well, I wanted to do that with this. So I went the easy route. I just took some square stock styrene and just glued it onto the sides and bent it as I went. I had these little clips that I used to hold them on so the glue would just sit better. And, all in all, I did it 4 times, got it done up. Then I took some sandpaper and I just sanded her all down. This is what she looked like after the base and everything was painted. I glued the bottom portions of the springs down. And you see the Just Trucks tires. I have the green interior, looking really good. I love how it looks. I'm ready to get everything put together. So, I decided to try to go along with the green theme. Did a fade into blue with the green, with an apple green, fade into this custom blue I made. I'm taking some metallic silver from a pen and I'm just dabbing it using paintbrush. Putting some dirt on here with my little weathering kit, make it look like it has a little bit of dirt in it, kind of blended together. Even though I clear coated it with gloss clear, I thought it still looked pretty good. So I wanted to throw some sand and stuff in there, made it look like it was already jumping and going. So, why don't we check out what we started off with first? 69 Mercury Cougar Eliminator. So we turned this thing into a badass BAHA 1000 car. I've never seen a Cougar. They're mostly trucks or Volkswagen Bugs or something in that general area. I wanted to turn an old school hot rod into one of those. So without further ado, let's check out the final results. And I'll see you next time at the range.